Kabane Kusaka is an ugly, disgusting loser who was abandoned by his parents when he was young. Now he has to investigate why all the animals in his village are dying in strange incidents, along with a Tokyo detective who can't get any bitches. We see that some kids are talking about a guy from Tokyo who is coming, which gets them excited. They are eager to come and see him at Yataro's village. Yataro agrees as long as they don't disturb the guests. He sees Kabane and tells him to stay there as he stinks. Meanwhile, the man from Tokyo, Kohachi and Yugami, gets a flat tire, but Mrs. Kusaka, his client and hostess of Kanoko Villa, takes him with his car. On their way, she explains that rotting livestock bodies have been appearing and people are getting scared, but are keeping it a secret from the children. At the villa, Inugami sees Kabane in the field and greets him. But Kabane just bows, causing Inugami to think that he is either shy or a hard worker who does not even go to school. While taking a bath in the hot spring, Yataro comes and introduces himself as the hostess' son and that he will be taking care of him during his stay. Yataro happily talks about Tokyo and how he wants to live there. Inugami asks him about the other boy and Yataro explains he is Dorotabo, a nickname like a yakai that lives in the fields. But as he also has a bad odor, they can't do any work with guests. After the bath, Inugami requests that Dorotabo take care of him from now on. In the morning, Kabane takes a bath and brings breakfast to Inugami. Inugami then introduces himself and explains that he is there on an investigation and asks Kabane if he had seen anything strange. Kabane wants to leave and talk after breakfast due to his odor as other people can't eat while he is around, but Inugami explains he does not mind it. Kabane guesses the investigation is about the rotting corpses and explains he is in charge of disposing of them, but they always appear after the new moon. There is a new moon in 5 days and Inugami decides to stay and starts helping with Kabane's daily work. While working on the field, Inugami notices the stone around Kabane's neck. Kabane tells him it probably belonged to his parents and they gave it to him when he was abandoned. Inugami wants to inspect it and realizes it is a rare life stone, which is formed only under special circumstances. As it is precious, his parents would not have left it on him, which means he wasn't abandoned. Inugami asks Kabane if he wishes to meet his parents, and while not fully sure, Kabane guesses he may want to see them. On the night of the new moon, while waiting for Inugami, Yataro approaches Kabane and blames him for ruining his chances in going to Tokyo, and ends up taking Kabane's life calculus. Kabane then punches Yataro and starts to transform into a monster, wanting the life calculus back. Yataro runs scared, leaving the calculus, and once Kabane takes it back, he returns to normal. A bit later, Inugami finds Kabane, who blames himself and states he is the culprit. Inugami shows him that he has a tail and explains that kimono exist and usually they don't get involved with people. He tells Kabane that he is a hybrid between human and ghoul, that his life calculus prevents his thirst from manifesting, and that there is another culprit. Kabane gets worried about Yataro as he does not know about the incidents occurring during the new moon. While running, Yataro recalls how he accidentally had killed Kabane when he was younger, but later that day, he came back like nothing had happened. Yataro then gets attacked by 2 infected dogs, but Inugami shoots and decapitates one, while Kabane breaks the neck of the other. They hear some noise and see a monster deer eating a dog. The deer then attacks them and Inugami shoots at its neck, almost decapitating her. Kabane then jumps in, putting his hand into the deer's mouth and then ripping its head from the body. While returning, Kabane comments he can't stay as Yataro knows what he is and they will blame all on him. Inugami then points his gun at Kabane, telling him that Mrs. Kusaka had hired him to kill him as she also knew what he was as her older sister had told her when she left Kabane with her. As the incidents occurred, she feared it may have been Kabane and decided to kill him. Even though the culprit is dead, she will not believe that it is not Kabane. Kabane understands and accepts it. Inugami asks him about his name and if he wishes to see his parents, but Kabane denies and wants to be killed, after which Inugami shoots him in the head. Inugami shows Kabane's body to Mrs. Kusaka and tells her he will dispose of the body. Kabane later wakes in Inugami's car, who tells him that he is a ghoul and can't die, but Dorotabo is dead. Inugami takes Kabane to his counseling office and gives him some clothes. As he changes clothes, 2 other boys come in and wonder who Kabane is. Inugami introduces the other 2 children who work at the office to Kabane, who are Akira and Shiki. He then asks Kabane if he wants to work there and tells Kabane he does not need to answer right away. Akira then asks if Kabane is also a kimono since he smells a little unusual. Inugami reveals that Kabane is an immortal demon and human Hanyo, which makes him similar to Shiki. Shiki then points out that the clothes Kabane is wearing is his. Kabane proceeds to remove his clothes, to which Shiki declines, telling he does not want it anymore. Shiki then asks Kabane his age. Kabane reveals his age to be around 13 and Shiki tells that he is 14, realizes he was 1 year older and acted superior, before going to the bathroom. He also tells Inugami that he will not share a room with him and lets Kabane sleep on the sofa. Akira then introduces himself and Kabane told him he was a pretty girl, which made Akira cry and saying he was a boy, and then stormed off. Later Shiki was sitting with Kabane and eating pizza. He tells Kabane he does not like him and that he will not be his friend, and Kabane accepts that. Shiki wonders why Kabane wasn't eating and tells him to eat some. Looking at the pizza, Kabane commented he had never seen one before, which shocked Shiki, and then gave a piece to Kabane. He watches him struggle with the cheese and laughs, but then remembers he does not like him and acts cold again. In bed, Shiki is speaking with Akira and keeps repeating he hates Kabane. But Akira told him it was probably because he was the first of the other hybrids he saw. Akira starts to guess why Kabane must be there, as likely he had no other place to be, so Shiki can go and ask Inugami. But that annoys Shiki, telling Akira to go and ask. Akira got annoyed and went to sleep, and Shiki, having no choice, then decided to go and ask. Kabane is seen going to the bathroom. He trips and sees a thread. Shiki then asks him why he came there. At first Kabane replies that it was a car, but then tells him he was looking for his parents. Shiki told him they were probably dead. Kabane tried to get up, but the web was holding him. Shiki warned him to not try as it would not come off, but Kabane forced it and freed himself. Shiki stops him and asks if it does not hurt. Kabane's leg then heals, which Shiki sees. Kabane then asks Shiki if he can now go to the bathroom and leaves. The next day, the four are then on a job. On the way, Inugami tells the three to get along in the work, and a perfect way to show what kimonoists do. After arriving at the scene, the investigator tells them that there is a mother, a child, and a rescuer inside. They see two crying children outside the room who must be siblings. Inugami was asked to look through the door and ask the investigators how long it has been like that. The investigator responds that it has been 20 or 30 minutes. He then orders the three to look at the scene. They look through the door and see the room infected with Sanchi bugs feeding on the people inside. Akira screams and backs out near the door. Inugami describes that the bugs are harmless insects that just take a bit of your skin while sleeping, but also have a favorite thing to eat and sees anyone who tries to take their food as their enemy. The investigator then asks Inugami if there is anything they can do. Inugami responds that he can eliminate them 100%. He then transforms his body into steel in secret and says that the people inside have a 50% chance of being saved. A rescuer then goes inside but is also eaten by the bugs. The investigator then insists on burning them to keep the civilian population safe. A child then appears saying they are not dead and to help them. While everyone is panicking and Inugami is buying time, Shiki volunteers to do the job and will use his silk. Shiki shoots threads of silk in the room and creates a spider web. Shiki then uses it to make the bugs stick to it and move towards him. However, the bugs eat the web, causing it to collapse. After Shiki fails, Kabane volunteers to go in himself. Inugami then gives his permission and orders to him. Kabane then goes inside the room and is immediately attacked by the bugs. However, he does not feel pain since he is a ghoul. While bugs are attacking him, he finds that one of the people is holding it. Inugami then orders Kabane to lift it and successfully removes the bugs from the people. After the job, Akira says that those are strange bugs and what their favorite food is. Inugami replies that Sanchi bugs feed on the feeling of guilt and tells Kabane that the shoes retrieved are probably stolen. The young boy from earlier came running to them and gave thanks to Kabane for saving his family. The boy then asks the reason the bugs appeared in their house, and Inugami advises him that as long as they don't do anything bad, it will be fine, and instructs the boy to return the shoes. The young boy is shocked and tells them that their mother always put them above herself, and one day his younger brother brought shoes to their home and he knew it was stolen. The younger brother's face went white and bugs appeared on his body. Their mother covered his younger brother even though she was afraid of bugs. Kabane then wonders about family and asks Inugami if he works for him. Would he be able to meet his parents? Inugami then asks Kabane for the third time if he wants to meet his parents since he lied the last time. Kabane responds yes. Inugami then tells Kabane that he can live at the office. After arriving back at the office, Shiki shares that his mom is in Iraq. Kabane asks if she is alive, to which Shiki replies that he does not know and they are probably not looking for him. Kabane says otherwise, that maybe they are alive and looking for them. This annoyed Shiki, who told him that if they get separated from their parents, then they would go look for them. But since they didn't, they are either dead or abandoned. Kabane still believed their parents didn't abandon them and that they were alive. But even if they were dead, they still needed to find out who they were. Shiki then leaves and shyly shows where Kabane's room is. Inugami talks to someone over the phone and reports the finished job and about Kabane. While lying in the hammock, Kabane wakes up saying that he can't sleep since it is so cushy. Inugami orders Shiki to bring Kabane to Yoko Inari. Inugami then calls Kabane and gives him a good luck charm. Meanwhile, Inari arrives at the Shinjuku police station and is greeted by the police. Shiki, Akira, and Kabane arrive at the Shinjuku station and directly go to the Shinjuku police station. Upon arriving, they ask to see Inari but are declined by the officer at the reception desk. A young girl appears whose name is Kon and asks who of the three is Kabane. Kabane reveals himself. Kon then tells him that Inari is asking for him and orders Kabane to follow her. Before Shiki is able to follow along, Kon stops him saying that Inari only wants Kabane. Kabane proceeds to follow Kon and leaves. Being pushed inside by Kon, Kabane enters the room and sees Inari. Inari tells Kabane to show the lifestone, which Kabane, with no hesitation, hands it over. She proceeds to tell Kabane all about his lifestone. Suddenly, Kabane's head is decapitated by Kon. Inari orders the police, which is under her spell, to collect his head and dispose of his body, and Kon to deal with Kabane's friends. A Kabane look-alike appears before Shiki and Akira, holding a briefcase. Curious as to what's inside the case, Akira asks him. Kabane responds that it is given to him and needs to deliver it to the room later. Akira notices something different with Kabane. Upon hearing Shiki mock Inari, Kabane transforms himself, which reveals to be Kon in disguise. Kon proceeds to attack the two using her flames. During the battle, Shiki manages to steal the briefcase from Kon. Upon opening, they see Kabane's head, which made Akira unconsciousness. Afraid of the thought of not being a good girl to Inari, Kon proceeds to look for them at the building. Kabane tells Shiki to throw him at her and he will take her down. Remembering how Kabane dealt with the bugs, Shiki executes Kabane's plan by throwing him. Kabane manages land a deep bite on Kon's shoulders, which made her unconscious. Upon taking down Kon, the illusion is gone at the police station. Kabane grows back his body. The three leave and see Inugami waiting for them outside. Inari is seen riding a taxi and sees the lifestone change its appearance into a tanuki doll. She then receives a call from Inugami. Inugami tells Inari that the lifestone belongs to Kabane and next time, she will be dealing with him. It turns out, Kabane is hiding the lifestone inside his mouth. Kon is seen struggling to walk after being attacked by Kabane. After Inugami and others went to dinner and went back to the office, they saw Kon at a distance, which eventually fell down. She is given pizza and tells Inugami that she needs to retrieve Kabane's head. After a while, a client appears at their doorstep. The client arrives at the bar. At the bar, Kabane asks the reason why half of the place is a bar. Shiki reveals that it originally belongs to Inugami's partner, and they don't know what they are up to, telling Kabane not to ask Inugami about it since it is a sensitive subject. A client shares his unrequited love for a woman, even telling that he wants to know information about her and his heart aches because of her. Akira then describes it as love. Hearing it as koi, Kon shares that she loves koi. Akira then shows his support to the client's love, which grosses Shiki out. Meanwhile, Kabane then approaches Inugami and asks that if he follows the gentleman, he might find out about his parents and asks if he could find love. Speechless by Kabane's thought, Inugami just gives his permission and orders Akira and Shiki to give him support and Akira to also come. As a reward, he will give her Kabane's head. The man, whose name is Yuruno, gives them the details. Just then, he sees a rat under the table and proceeds to chase and catch it, and reveals a bag full of rats as a present to the woman. Akira becomes terrified of the sight and pukes in the bathroom. Inugami then says that it is the work of a Nekomata. After a while, Inugami suggests Akira to sit the job out since it could be terrifying for him. Yuruno, with Shiki, Kabane, and Akira meet up at Shinjuku. Yuruno reveals a picture of her to them. They then wait for Mao to finish her shift and sees a cat go out from the establishment. Kabane and the others follow the cat and tell her about Yuruno's love for her. Yuruno then confesses his love to her. After the job, Inugami then proceeds to give Kabane's head an illusion. The next day, it turns out that Yuruno kept Mao as a pet cat, and the two are living together. Akira reveals to Inugami that he has become Kabane's apprentice. Kabane and Akira are then given a job in Shibuya. Kabane is then briefed about the Shibuya rivers. Kabane arrives at the underground river and Akira arrives in a full medical suit with a mask on. The two then proceed to go to the underground river. Akira also shares his childhood with Kabane. Suddenly, a frog kimono grabs Akira from above. Kabane manages to free Akira. Just as the frog-like species tries to attack again, a tanuki appears out of nowhere and bites the frog kimono. The tanuki then reveals a pouch, a letter, and blood in a container from Inugami. The two read the letter, which contains information about the frog kimonos lurking at the river. Akira then ponders about the thought of fighting them, but also recalls the reason he went to Tokyo and decides to fight. Akira pours the blood at the river to lure the frog kimonos. A bunch of frog kimonos appear and begin to attack them. While Kabane and the tanuki are fighting, Akira trembles and recalls what Yui said, that he is weak. Akira tells himself that he wants to be useful. Suddenly, Akira emits ice, causing the frog kimonos and the surroundings to be frozen. The leader of the frog kimono thanks the tanuki, which reveals to be Inugami. Kabane is cleaning the office when he is dragged by someone into a room. Akira and Shiki approach Inugami since they are concerned about him suddenly disappearing. The three run to the room at the end of the hallway to which Kabane is cleaning and see Kabane following the orders of a certain Mihai. Akira and Shiki are shocked to see Mihai living in the room all this time. Mihai then introduces himself and declares Kabane as his official waitperson. Kabane then obliges to it without any hesitation. Inugami proceeds to tell the group about Mihai and orders them to stay away from him. The next day, Shiki and Akira again see Kabane at Mihai's room, ordering him around. Shiki aggressively tells Mihai to not treat Kabane as a slave. As a response to Shiki's statement, Mihai proposes a deal that if they beat him in arm wrestling, he will set Kabane free. However, Shiki loses every time and Akira tells him that he can win against him. Suddenly, Kabane offers to arm wrestle Mihai. However, Kabane is also defeated just like Shiki. Inugami tells Akira and Shiki that Mihai is toying with them and has brute strength, considering he is a vampire. As Kabane goes out to buy supper, he thinks about his defeat with Mihai and tells himself to get stronger. At the park, Kabane encounters Kon. Kon reveals that Inari does not need Kabane's head anymore, and as soon as she brought Kabane's head to her, she saw another kitsune serving her. Kabane offers Kon in a match. The two engage in a match and Kon loses. She cries over her loss and being weak. Back at the office, Inugami is shocked to see Mihai leave his room. Mihai reveals that his arm is broken by Kabane and will take 1 week to heal. Hence he can't play games and decides to help Inugami in his work. Mihai accepts a job with no permission of Inugami. Back at the park, Kabane comforts Kon and falls asleep. Kabane then offers Kon to stay at their place, however Kon refuses, saying she can't live with a tanuki and proposes she can live with Kabane at the park. Kabane refuses, saying that he has a chore and will be back soon. At the office, Mihai tells the three about a new case. Shiki is seen training, using his sweat to produce silks. Akira and Kabane are seen arriving at the Bug Bite Electronics. Mihai leads and instructs them remotely. It is revealed that Inugami is locked in a room. Shiki manages to enter the building, with Mihai's Mihai Magnum as a companion. While surveying the place, Shiki stumbles upon a room full of workers. Suddenly, a worker goes out of the room, crying out of desperation. While trying to leave, the worker is stopped by the manager Kaga and lures the worker into an empty room. Upon turning the lights on, the worker is attacked by and his brains were sucked by a kanonba. After a while, the worker stands up and goes to the worker room. Mihai approaches Inugami and asks about the mosquito-like kimonos. Mihai relays the information to the three. Kabane tells them that they should attack them, considering that there are also 3 of them, but Shiki's plan is different, saying that they should take a different route. Seeing how cautious they act, Mihai decides to have fun and uses his Mihai Magnum to make noise. Erika Kaga goes out and sees the device. The sisters split up to check the building for any intruders. However, Shiki's camouflage is seen by one of the sisters, and just as one of the sisters try to attack him, Mihai uses the Mihai Magnum to electrify it. Shiki then trembles after the encounter, which made Mihai become more interested in playing with him. Shiki is seen having panic attacks when confronted by one of the kanonbas. Meanwhile, Kabane and Akira hurry over to Shiki's location while communicating with Mihai, who tells that his hand slipped, losing control over the Mihai Magnum. However, Kabane and Akira are stopped by Momoka. Meanwhile, Shiki is frozen at spot. Being unable to contain his fear, he begs for someone to help him. Just then, Kabane calls out to him through the transmitter, dragging Momoka, and tells him they are on their way to him. Shiki faces Erika. He camouflages himself. Erika, unable to specifically locate him, begins to attack each corner. However, she is restrained using Shiki's silk and manages to attack her. Just then, Kabane and Akira arrive at his location. Both of the sisters are restrained. The three begin to talk about their next course of action. Just then, the eldest sister, Rika, arrives and apologizes to the three for their actions and threatens them to leave. However, Cabane responds and refuses the deal, saying he needs to stop them. Just then, Rika begins to suck the brains of her sisters and fully transforms herself into her mosquito form. Cabane tries to attack the Kanamba but is unable to move due to her strength. Shiki and Akira try to help Cabane but are both thrown by Rika. While fighting Rika, Cabane ponders about his thought of becoming stronger for the sake of his friends. Just then, Mihai gives him advice to use his kimono strength, not his human strength, in order to win. Cabane unleashes his kimono power and manages to overpower and defeat Rika. After the fight, a kimono named Nobamaru arrives and introduces himself as someone working under Yoko Inari. Nobamaru approaches Rika and burns all the kimonos. Cabane also asks him what will happen to the workers at the factory. Before leaving, Nobamaru tells him a secret that Inari still hasn't given up on stealing his life stone. Cabane wonders and asks the reason he is revealing it to him, to which Nobamaru tells him that he hates Inari. Nobamaru then leaves and bids goodbye to them. Back at the office, the members talk about the finished mission. The next day, news about the bug bite electronics situation is reported. Cabane remembers his promise to Khan and rushes over to her. He then reveals that he went on a mission and forgot about her. Khan sulks hearing this, since she even caught koi for both of them to eat, but they had gone rotten overnight. Nobamaru is seen spying on both of them. Back at the office, Shiki tells Inugami that he wants to learn something about his parents. Inugami, Akira, Teimaru, and Kusaka are on their way to Kenshicho in order to meet Shiki's parents. Upon arriving, Inugami takes care of their lodge. Meanwhile, the others visit a souvenir place. Shiki notices a young girl enter the shop. After a while, Inugami arrives with Akio Teimaru, Shiki's uncle. The group goes to the forest. Akio introduces himself as Shiki's father, younger brother, and someone who knows a lot about kimono. Akio then goes straight to the issue about Shiki's mother. He reveals that together with his brother, they went to the forest to learn about the legend of Nishikujo, and that's where they encountered Shiki's mother, and the rest of the story has been already told to Shiki. Akira and Cabane worry about Shiki, and when Shiki arrives, they ask him about the news. Shiki reveals that both of his parents are dead. Later, Cabane, Akira, and Shiki are seen bathing. Suddenly, Nobamaru appears, and since he saw that there are only 3 of them in the bathhouse, he reveals himself as a kitsune. Noticing that the 3 seem down, he suggests for them to go explore the forest since there are fireflies. The 4 then arrive at the forest and see a bunch of fireflies. Cabane gives his thanks to Nobamaru, and Nobamaru says he is happy for him. While wandering, Shiki finds a familiar tree and says that he used it as a landmark. Suddenly, he remembers that he used to go right from the tree. Shiki then starts to run and finds a cabin. He remembers that time that at the other side of the door is something that is way more disgusting. As Shiki opens the door, he recalls what he saw when he was young. It was her mom being impregnated by a kimono. As they follow Shiki to the cabin, Nobamaru finds an artificial insemination catheter and wonders why it is there. He also finds blood and scratch marks. Nobamaru then suddenly remembers a certain kimono incident, in which a certain item called healing silk appeared in the human market, and Inari suppressed it before it became public. However, a certain human was blacklisted. Meanwhile, Inugami goes to Akio's room and tells him he wants to have an adult conversation with him. Nobamaru reveals the man that is blacklisted to be Akio Teimaru. Nobamaru further says that the place and the kimono incident are related, and the place is used as a test site to create the golden spider webbing. Shiki recalls his memories when he was young, when he tried to save his mother from the monster but suddenly felt a flow on his head and lost consciousness. Upon waking up, he sees his uncle that his mother is safe, however her injuries are severe and will take a long time to recover. At some point, Shiki felt like his uncle was lying and he ran from the truth. He realized that he should have questioned his uncle that time, since he believes his mother will not throw him away. Shiki then tells Nobamaru that they want each other to share information. Shiki then tells them that he does not want to go by his gut, because if all are connected, he will not forgive his uncle and kill him. Shiki asks Cabane if he is gonna stop him, to which Cabane responds that he will not be stopping him since he chose it, and offers if there is anything he can help. Shiki gives his thanks to Cabane. Meanwhile, in the forest, Inugami is having a conversation with Akio. While Akio is telling him that when goes to Kenshicho sometimes, he remembers things. Inugami mentions the golden spider webbing. Akio becomes frozen and tells Inugami that he keeps getting on his way, and what he does wrong. Inugami then asks Akio how it was born. Akio confesses his doings, to which it was revealed that all this time, Shiki is listening to their conversation through call, and Shiki restrains Akio. Shiki restrains Akio after hearing about his past deeds, which made Shiki angry. Akio asks Inugami if he is okay with the children's killing, to which Inugami says he is already resigned to it. Just then, Akira arrives, crying and covered in dirt after being left behind. A kimono appears behind Akira and tries to attack him. Inugami manages to protect Akira on time but was poisoned by a venom from the kimono. The two were both dragged by the kimono, leaving the three to deal with Akio. A group of kimonos appear in Akio's aid, who are revealed to be Shiki's siblings, all of them being the result of Akio's experiments. Shiki hears his mother's words through his siblings, which made him break down. Nabamaru suggests to Kabane for them to deal with it. However, Kabane gives no response and approaches Shiki if he needs help. Shiki cries and asks for Kabane's help. Meanwhile, Inugami and Akira are separated from the group. Unable to produce a gun, Inugami asks Akira if he could freeze his arm, which he does, just as a kimono would be attacking them. The young girl appears and orders the kimonos not to attack them. She then offers Inugami to come with her in order to heal his arm. Kabane continues to deal with the kimonos, with the only goal in mind, to kill Akio. On the other hand, the young girl leads Inugami and Akira into a spring, which eventually heals Inugami's arm. The young girl begs for them not to kill Akio since there is still something she needs to ask him. Kabane defeats all the kimonos and approaches Akio. He throws him near Shiki, saying that he can do whatever he wants to him. Shiki thanked Kabane for dealing with the kimonos. Shiki then reveals that he had realized that killing his uncle will not bring his mother back. Just then, Inugami and Akira arrive together with the young girl whose name is Aya. Akio is shocked to see Aya in the woods. Shiki becomes intrigued as to why Akio gets so worked up. Aya asks Akio the location where he hid the cocoon she made. Akio refuses to reveal the information and controls Aya. Shiki begins to think about his uncle's personality over the years. Aya tells Shiki she can't reveal who she is or otherwise she will be hated by him. Inugami offers to track down the cocoon and contacts Mihai and asks for any crucial information about Akio. Mihai reveals about Akio's 4 places he regularly checks on. Upon hearing about a spring, Aya rushes to it, to which she is followed by Shiki. Akio tries to stop her but fails. Aya realizes the reason the spring has detoxifying effects is because part of the cocoon was dissolved there. Just as Aya tries to dive into the spring, Shiki offers to do it instead. After some time underneath, he finds his mother wrapped in a cocoon. Shiki resurfaces and goes back. Aya asks him if he finds the cocoon. Shiki asks if it was her doing and if his mother is still alive. Aya reveals her full name and her true identity of being the golden webbing. Inugami, Kabane holding Akio, Akira, and Nabamaru rushes to the area and sees Shiki's mother. Akio reveals that he needs to keep Kumi close in hand, and in case something happens to Aya, and the idea of mass production. Shiki punches Akio. He then proceeds to tell Inugami he wants to move his mother to a safe place, and decides not to kill Akio. He also asks Aya to come with them. The group leaves and goes back to Tokyo. Meanwhile, Akio is confronted by Nabamaru and is killed. Meanwhile, the group arrives at a clinic run by Inugami's friend. Inugami says it was an urgent case and an old man appears before them, revealed to be Granny Ohana. Granny Ohana proceeds to check Kumi's state and tells that her condition might be something psychological, and reassures Shiki that she will wake up. She then lets the group stay over the night. After checking up on Kumi, the group leaves, leaving Shiki and Aya in the room. Kabane and Akira are already asleep. Meanwhile, Shiki is still at his mother's side. With no courage to open the door, Aya reminisces about her memories with her mother and how she learned that she has a big brother, who believes he will rescue her and her mother. Suddenly, Shiki calls out to her and encourages her to enter the room. Aya asks Shiki if he does not hate her and why will not he kill her like the other kimonos. Shiki responds that it is because she kept their mother alive and glad he met her. Aya then cries after hearing Shiki's words. Kumi then wakes up and sees her children beside her. The three hug each other. 1 week later, back at the agency, Shiki is absent, which is revealed that Shiki decided to stay at the hospital for a while to take care of his mother. However, they are surprised when Shiki arrives at the agency and has no plans on quitting and promises Kabane to help him find his parents as thanks for helping him. Aya also arrives at the agency with a completely different aura and personality. She then reports to Inugami that she decided to work with Granny Ohana. During the commotion at the agency, Kon arrives and challenges Kabane to a match. Inugami interrupts the children's fun and talks about a new job. The news reports about incidents where women's faces are being ripped. Kabane, Aya, and Kon take on the job. The three arrive at Harajuku where the incidents happen. Kon volunteers to handle the job, boasting that she is Inari's subordinate. However, she is not recognized and is ignored by the police officer. Kabane then introduces themselves as part of the Inugami detective agency, and the officer leads them the way. While doing the job, Kon develops a jealous feeling over Kabane and Aya. She is then distracted by a voice saying it will help her. Soon, Aya's hair was grabbed by something which Kabane managed to hit. A kimono, who is revealed to be a katanashi, shows herself and explains her intentions of ripping a woman's face in order to impress the boy she loves. She then points out Kon being in pain. While being questioned by Aya about what is wrong with her, Kon gets angry and transforms into her kitsune form and tries to attack Aya, but Kabane manages to protect her, making Kon run away from both of them. Aya and Kabane arrive back at the agency. Aya reveals that she gave Katanashi a body to make her look human. Aya then leaves and gives Kabane a goodbye kiss. Later that night, Kabane goes to the park and asks what's wrong with Kon. Kabane sees Kon crying and questions her. Kabane comforts Kon, which makes her feel better. Kon reveals that she wants to be the most important to Kabane and asks him what she should do that. Kabane responds that he does not know. Meanwhile, Inugami accompanies Kyumi to memorialize her deceased kimono children. Kyumi gives her thanks to Inugami for also keeping it a secret. The next day, Aya arrives again at the agency, and so is Kon, where the two then bicker with each other. Akira then decides to take action and asks Kabane to choose his lover, to which Kabane says that it is Inugami, which leaves Aya and Kon shocked. A young man is seen walking when he bumps into a stranger. The group of strangers corners the young man and asks for his money. The young man asks the group if they recognize someone and shows them a drawing of Akira. When the group teasingly responds that they don't know, the young man proceeds to freeze the man. Meanwhile, at the agency, Akira sees his stuffed toy ripped open and Inugami suggests for Akira to ask Mihai to mend it. Upon receiving the mended stuffed toy, Akira hears a voice and Mihai reveals that he also installed an artificial intelligence in it. A flashback is seen where Akira and his twin brother, Yui, is seen playing in the snow in their childhood. Yui carries him when he tripped and began to cry. However, they were found by Hisame and locked in a room. The two are being taken care of by the village. Akira and Yui's childhood is shown. At the agency receives a job to separate the remains of a client's significant other from the beach sand who unfortunately passed away at a beach. However, Akira trips on it and the bag spills all of its contents. During the next few days, Akira is seen causing problems all over the place and at the job, including not plugging the kettle, breaking a vase, accidentally letting out the cats, and spilling food. Due to this, Akira decides to leave the agency and takes on a journey. While roaming the streets, he encounters Yui. Young Akira and Yui saw a bag in the mountains and decided to check it out and learned about Tokyo, a man named Inugami, and the kimonoist office. At bed, Yui promises Akira that they will go to Tokyo someday and live there quietly. After encountering Yui, Akira proceeds to ask him what he has been doing all this time and buys him a crepe. However, Yui refuses and instead gives it back to him. Meanwhile, at the agency, Kabane and Shiki finish a job, to which Shiki says that it is easier to finish without Akira. Akira and Yui go to a park. Yui asks him what kind of him he wants, to which Akira wants to have something like an ice castle. After hearing this, Yui builds Akira an ice castle. Akira then requests for more creations from Yui. While trying to take pictures of the place, Yui gets Akira's phone, freezes it and breaks it, telling Akira that he will not be needing it. Yui leaves, telling Akira not to leave the place, and finds them food outside. Back at the agency, Shiki fails to make a proper beef stew. Kabane, on the other hand, gives his opinion about the beef stew, which made Shiki irritated. He then tells Kabane to buy some dinner. Shiki washes the plates but constantly breaks them as he washes them. After buying dinner and arriving back, Kabane tells Shiki that he realizes that Akira is good at something very important, and the reason they have never had problems before is because Akira. Kabane then tells Shiki for them to find Akira, to which Shiki agrees. Yui reveals to have a calculus on his chest while browsing. Inugami sees a post about an ice castle. Inugami, Kabane, and Shiki arrive at the location. Yui is seen coming out from the castle and is asked if he is the owner of the castle. Just as he is about to freeze the reporter, Inugami shoots at his hand, stopping him. However, Yui freezes the wound and reveals the nil calculus attached to his chest. Inugami gives Kabane and Shiki a brief description of the calculus. Inugami then proceeds to ask Yui what happened at the snow village, since the calculus is forbidden to take out. Yui refuses to answer him but instead gives his thanks to him for taking care of Akira. Yui asks the three what their relationship is to Akira, and Kabane responds that they are Akira's friends and asks Yui if Akira is inside the castle. Meanwhile, inside the castle, Akira is looking at social media by using his stuffed toy. While locked up, Akira begins to worry about his brother. Big Brother proceeds to reveal that Yui's temperature around his heart is extremely low, which may affect him physically and mentally. Yui then comes back to the castle and tells Akira that the furnishings he requested are done and orders him to come down. Instead, Akira sees his friends frozen. Akira sees his friends frozen and becomes shocked by the sight, resulting in him not feeling well. Yui leaves the ice castle to find mints for Akira. Akira cries while claiming that all his friends have died. However, Big Brother tells him otherwise, that they are still alive. After realizing that Kabane does not die, Akira becomes happy and wonders if there is any way to melt the ice. Meanwhile, Yui gathers mints while reminiscing about how he became the Snow Village chief. During their childhood, Akira notices that Yui always comes home late and tells him that he wants to help. However, Yui tells him that being a chief has a lot of responsibilities and it would be too much for him. Instead of this, Akira gives him a flower he found on a tree that day and congratulates Yui on becoming a chief. Yui was brought to the Nullstone's place and endured every day all his duties as a chief. Over time, he was swallowed by hatred and animosity, but Akira remained his salvation. Yui returns to the ice castle, but Akira requests for another favor in order to take advantage of the opportunity to melt the ice and save his friends. Inari and Nabamaru arrive at the ice castle's location. While waiting for the requested salt and water, Kabane manages to break from the ice and freeze himself. Kabane informs Akira about the Nullstone and asks him about it. Akira remembers that the Snow Village where he came from has a barrier against snowstorms and learns that Kabane needs to persuade his brother even if it means fighting him. Kabane then tells Akira to come back to the agency and apologizes for what he said to him that morning. Worried that Yui might freeze them again and kill them, Akira tells Kabane that he is the one who told his brother to deal with them. Kabane then asks Akira why he is lying since he would not say those things. However, Akira says otherwise, that he always felt that way and hates them. Just then Yui arrives and tries to freeze Kabane again, however Akira stops him, saying that he does not care about them and wants to leave the place. Before leaving, Akira sheds a tear and says goodbye to Kabane. Yui and Akira then both leave the place. Back at the ice castle, Big Brother speaks up and asks for Kabane's help in order to finish Akira's uncompleted tasks. It was then used to melt the ice on Inugami and Shiki by using some of its heat. While remembering Akira's words, Inari shows up in the ice castle. Kabane becomes wary of her presence, however Inari reveals that she is at the ice castle to retrieve the Nullstone, not for the Lifestone, and asks for Kabane's help, revealing that it is connected to Kabane's parents. Akira and Yui are seen strolling. Akira asks Yui if the chief's duties are hard and he does not want Yui to be troubled alone. Yui tells him he does not have to do a thing and will keep him safe and not be tainted like him. Akira reveals that he peed his bed. Learning of this and what the women might do to Akira, Yui orders to assemble all the women of the village and makes a proposal that he will make every woman content in exchange of letting Akira leave the village. Otherwise he will kill himself. Isama then tells him that if did kill himself, they would make Akira the chief. Yui then tells them that Akira can never be his replacement and threatens the women of the village to risk the survival of the village. As a result, the women of the village agree to the condition. Yui then orders Akira to leave and tells him they'll meet in Tokyo. Over the passage of time, Yui learns that Isama betrayed him and they went after Akira. Yui becomes enraged and escapes the village. Hearing that something is coming, Yui locks up Akira in a cage. Just then, Nabamaru reveals himself. Yui asks him what his relationship is to Akira, to which Nabamaru says that he is just a stranger. Yui tries to freeze him, however Nabamaru manages to escape with his right foot frozen, but eventually melts it using his flames. Nabamaru transforms into his kitsune appearance. Inari tries to persuade Kabane into helping her retrieve it. Just then, Inugami gives his permission and lets Kabane join Inari and tells him to save Akira. Nabamaru replicates multiple of himself to confuse Yui, however Yui summons large ice picks and attacks Nabamaru. Kabane is seen running towards where Akira is. Akira contemplates that the other kimonoists will be killed with the way things are headed and executes his plan of an Operation Get Along in order to settle the current problem with his brother and his friends. This is what Akira had imagined, however. He is currently trapped inside a cage made by his brother, Yui. Meanwhile, Yui fights with Nabamaru. When Akira calls out to Yui, which makes Yui distracted, Nobamaru gets a chance to approach Yui and touch the nil calculus. However, Nobamaru wasn't able to stand the calculus power, resulting in it injuring his hands. While trying to think on how to retrieve the calculus, Yui comes after him. Suddenly, Kabane shows up in order to help Nobamaru. Together with Nobamaru, Kabane devises a plan in order to take down Yui. Kabane sets his body on fire and attacks Yui, which melts Yui's ice. Yui covers his body with ice and vows to protect Akira. Meanwhile, Akira still tries to get out of the ice cage. He suddenly realizes that the fog is made of water and tries to use his power to create a large ice that will break the cage he is in. Kabane and Yui engage in a continuous fight. While in battle, Nobamaru reminds Kabane that his body will fall apart if the flames overpowered his regeneration skill. However, Kabane insists for Nobamaru to put him in flames. Kabane manages to fully melt Yui's ice on his body. Just as Kabane is about to blow his second attack, Akira steps in and stops him. Yui's body starts to break, which is a result of the calculus absorbing his life. As Akira tries to remove the calculus from his brother, Akira sees a vision of his brother when they were young. He then realizes that Yui sacrificed himself for him in order to protect him. Learning what his brother went through, Akira cries and tells his brother they will share happiness and fun from now on. Kabane rushes to Akira's side and tries to help Akira. He spits out the life calculus, which combines to the nil calculus. Just then, Inari interferes and touches the combined calculus. Kohachi and Yugami with Shiki also arrive at the scene. And Yugami tells Inari to give the calculus back since it belongs to Kabane. Inari proceeds to toss back the combined calculus since it would be useless for her to say if she can't hold off the nil calculus. Before leaving, Kabane offers Nobamaru to come with them in order for Aya to fix his hand. However, Nobamaru refuses, saying that it is a result of his own lack of skills, and leaves. They then go to Granny Ohana's hospital in order for Yui to get some rest. Upon finding Kabane, Akira apologizes to Kabane. Yui wakes up and thanks Kabane for saving him. Kabane then interferes and politely asks Yui to tell him something about the nil calculus since he needs leads. And Yugami proceeds to tell them about the war between kimonos and humans and their other calculus like Kabane's. Yui recalls the thing he had done, and Yugami dismisses it as it happens all the time. Akira then tells Yui for them to be together all the time. In response, Yui apologizes to Akira. The group then poses for a photo. Meanwhile, Kon encounters Nobamaru in front of her. Kon becomes alert and cautious around him. However, Nobamaru tells Kon that Inari has a special mission for her, which made Kon delighted. Nobamaru then gives the orders to persuade Kabane and retrieve the kimono calculi. Kabane, Akira, and Shiki go to Mihai's room to get Nai-san repaired. Akira goes out to travel with his brother. On the other hand, Inugami and Kabane also go out to travel in order to find other calculus. During their departure, Kon appears before them, telling them that she will also come to their trip. If you've reached this part of the video, comment the word demon in the comments. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss the next part of this anime.